It's alive! It's alive!
We got our guest in the studio. We got Ashley Martin.
Hello.
Hello. Where's the microphone? Oh, that's I've that many times. We only have 3 people in the studio. I forgot to bring the microphone up. How are you, Ash?
I'm great, mate.
I haven't seen you for a while. You got in touch with us a few weeks ago, didn't you? Saying you've got some new stuff, and we're going to be playing some of that stuff today.
Sound.
If you haven't heard of Ashley Martin, then but you will have heard. Talked about this before. You might not have heard the Pies, but you'll have heard of the Pies. Primarily because of the railway bridge, the Merseyrail bridge going across the M57.
Various.
What year was that first done? Because I'm like thinking, was that 25 years ago? Something like that?
More.
More than that?
About 88.
88? That's as old as my camper van now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Get that off for sale, mate.
Yeah. I put the Pies on the side of it. As sponsored by the Pies.
It won't help the price, mate.
Yeah, so but just to remind readers, and we had Alexei Sale on as well, and he was saying when he used to see that sign, he knew he was getting to Liverpool. It was like a landmark.
Well, his first book, Overtaken, that was the biggest first thing that happened to me was the Pies had been written on the bridge. And the story on BBC and all that is that we got stuck on the bridge and we didn't know what to do, so we painted it again. There's a bit of humour. But basically, Alexei Sale must have been driving to see his mum, and he'd do all the motorways of the world, and then when he got to the M57, he knew he was home.
Yeah.
And he always wondered why it was painted twice. So then his first book, Overtaken, was, the first 4 pages were sort of devoted to that, speculating about who did it and why they did it. And, it's hilarious. It is funny, like, and the bit that I laughed at most, he said, it's that dangerous, the bridge, that there's 250,000 volts running through it. There's a crocodile across it.
Yeah.
And it was that dangerous that the fella who did it died doing it.
Yeah.
And no one's ever been
it's
up
like a
there
myth, ever since. Tom Slemon myth, isn't it? Yeah.
And then he says, no one has ever been up there ever since.
Yeah.
Not even to get his body.
He's lying there with the paintbrush in his hand.
Well, he goes on and on.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, I love that, because I thought, well, maybe he got inspired by that, and then he started writing from there, you know.
Yeah.
So I love him, and I went to one of his shows once as well and sort of collared him,
Did when you say I am the pie man?
Well, when the questions come round.
Yeah.
But he was onto it somehow.
Yeah.
He said, was that you, is it? Straight away. Like.
So what was it? And obviously he's promoting the band, but where did the idea come from to do the bridge to begin with?
It was just him, we'd thought of the name, we'd put a pin in the dictionary, and we had a couple of gigs, and, I was in me Mars, and it was dead simple. We went out into me Mars bog, which was the downstairs outside bog, and there was like an owl mop and half a tin of gloss paint. So I said, yeah, that'll do. I'll go and paint it on the motorway bridge.
Yeah.
That was it. So I got my girlfriend at the time, who was proper like a prefect from school. Wouldn't do anything wrong. Like, and she was my getaway driver.
Yeah.
So she gets off down the motorway, drops me off. I paint the Pies in quite short time. And then I'm sitting there going, where is she? Like, so it's like half an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, I might as well just paint it again. So I thought, I've got a bit of paint left. So I painted it again. And then sure enough, she's coming down the motorway, 30 mile an hour, flashing the headlights and everything, and I run down the bank. But I mean, that's why it was twice.
Yeah.
There was no thought to it.
It wasn't like Apocalypse
but
Now,
then,
the horror.
I suppose to sum it up for you, we'd sort of done a bit more of it, but generally went to America with Joe Flannery, the original manager, let a deal go there. So it was like, right, coming home, signing on, and I thought, I've had this, like, I'm not going through all this headache, and then the team don't take the deal when we do it. So I sort of give it up I said, unless they knock on my door
Yeah.
and say, listen, we're sorry, mate, for not having that deal. We were knobheads. You know, if they don't say that, I'm not getting out of this house again
Yeah.
until I've got the right gang around me. So I kept the music to myself for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Brought the sun up. But it stayed up. You know, and say Lexi Sale said, the council used to paint round it
Yeah.
because they were that scared of the fella that done it. You know, all that. But what 10 years later, there was still, we were more famous then
Yeah.
because of that. And then a weird occurrence happened, and I'll try and be brief. I was going to the Outer Hebrides, and it was one of them. I was just going AWOL to the Hebrides.
Yeah.
I was trading shares on the phone, and just as I was about to bail out on my own, my cousin goes, remember that song of yours, This Is Your Life? And I went, yeah. He goes, call it This Is Your Time. It's more positive like. So I was like, that's weird him to say that. That was the last thing he said to me. So I get off to the Hebrides, lived on the Hebrides, trading shares, me and a sheepdog,
Yeah.
walking round. It was a mad time in my life. Anyway, the Tatties and Herring night comes round, where the herring come in, and all the islanders are fishing all night for the herring. And when they come in, there's a big celebration. So how the island gets together, I'm in there, there's a guitar on the stage, I'm looking at it thinking, I've got this urge to play it.
Yeah.
You know, so push me way on stage, got the guitar, done the new version of This Is Your Time. The crowd loved it, and I thought, I'm going back to Liverpool to record this, like, I love it. So I got £5,000, come back to Liverpool, painted the whole of the Northwest. They were some of the biggest ones we ever did,
Yeah.
and all the history with that. And then recorded the song. You know, that's how it happened, and how my life changed back to that. And then, obviously there's been loads of follies and
Yeah.
loads of history to the pies, loads of tragedy as well,
Is anyone left from the original lineup, or they all dispersed?
Me, and I mean, this is the lovely thing about this recording now, right?
Yeah.
The original Pies I was 19, the guitarist was 16, he came round to me Mars, we started playing in me Mars.
Yeah.
Just him and me and the guitars and a drum machine. So, 12 months ago, I'm back at me Mars, I'm 55, I'm back at me Mars, right? That's it, with nothing, you know what I mean? Where's my next tenner coming from
Yeah.
in my time of life? So, me and Si got back together again.
Yeah.
And there was only me and him who were asked.
Yeah.
And it was like, right, okay, let's get some drum tracks, let's get back to the barn, let's start jamming, get your undies out, forget the birds, forget
Yeah.
the keyboards, who gives a shit? It's the Pies or whatever, not ask what they think about it, Davy, you and me.
Yeah.
So that's where this came from. And, we love it, and it's the way I really always wanted it. It's raw, it's
Yeah.
energetic, we haven't polished it. I apologise for swearing just then. I got,
It's
got
all
a
right,
bit carried away. But, so this is the Pies or whatever. Call it whatever you want. We're not asked anyway. We never were anyway. I mean, the other thing I want to say, I don't want to go all on about Pies, because we have got an important bit of Beatles news,
Yeah.
to
Okay.
break. And we have to deal with that as well. It's
Okay.
historic, and we have to correct the record.
We'll play the first track anyway, and
Okay, boss.
which is I'll never get called that anyway. Not even by
You
my
are the
wife.
boss, like.
Um,
You're the head communist, aren't you?
this is your time. So this is a new version of it, is it? New.
This is me and Si, and the drummer and the bass player, letting rip. No backing vocals, no birds, no keyboards, just undies, smelly lads with guitars.
No swear words.
This is the Pies, no swear words anymore, and that's the way it is, mate, yeah.
Okay, it's the first time we used a CD player in here for about 3
And
years.
usually the first who're ever getting it, and it
Okay.
had to be that way.
Come on, I'll
Yeah.
pick the wrong one.
This is your Live our life, we're coming to this, and we take no chances too. With only 2 minutes, it's all I can see about all that I want you to be. Dreaming out, being calling, want me to believe
Just making sure that's not going on. Not used the CD players for ages, and I don't know. Yeah, it's stopping at the tracks, which is like, it's a miracle, really. But that was fantastic.
Thank you, mate.
It's like, you know, you can see people pogo into that.
I hope
yeah,
you like
bring
it.
back-
I don't care
No,
if
no,
you do or don't,
no, it's
but
great.
I do love it myself, and it's how I always wanted it.
Yeah,
You know, it's like we were down to nothing, so we weren't listening to anyone anymore.
yeah.
We didn't have to. You know, so that's it. For good or bad or worse or better, whatever.
So this is an exclusive as well, isn't
It's
it?
the pies
it's
or
the first
whatever,
time,
mate. It'd
yeah.
have to be you and me. And I always, when I come here, this is the place where I feel I'm in the right place
It's
in
a
the world.
spiritual home, is it? Yeah.
It's like a load of rotten apples and together
In one
basket.
barrel, yeah.
And I feel at home, like a dirty old smelly pair of slippers that you've got, that you love them, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know they stink. But if you put them on, you feel great. That's what it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
being here. Like,
comfortable, yeah. Well, that's what everyone says
I don't-
about it.
You're
yeah.
not a dirty old slipper. I'm not trying to
No,
say
no,
that,
no,
mate,
no. It might be a dirty old something, but you know. No, but it's great. You still, I'm not saying you're still going. Sounds like you know you're a ticking clock or something, but you still
know
got
what?
that enthusiasm. You
Yeah,
know.
do you know what, mate? If you're a creative person, what I've found is there's a lot of people in mental institutions that are just creative people that are not creating, and there's a loads of miserable people in the world that are the same. They were creators and they're not
Yeah,
creating.
yeah.
So, you know, I'll always have it in my life, no matter what. You know, whatever the work I do, the pies will always be something that you can't buy.
Yeah.
That was our ethos from
You can't
day
buy a pie.
one. You can't buy the
Can't
pies.
buy the pies,
I mean, that's
yeah.
the first thing we wrote on the first diary. So we
Yeah.
used to go round to the boozers, sit with the fella, you know, and put the book down, and it said, "You can't buy the pies" in big letters.
Yeah.
You know, and that was true. Like, and
So
still is.
how much touring did you do in the old days?
I've got well.
No.
Well, we did. Like, people used to laugh because he said, "Oh yeah, you used to." One fella said to me, "Oh yeah, the pies. Yeah, you used to do the world tour of Garston, didn't you?" You know. And so I just went, right, okay, that's a tour, right? Well, I'll do a mini tour,
Yeah.
Liverpool, and I went round and filled a month with gigs of Liverpool.
Yeah.
And then I've done it again. So, but the funniest story probably from them days was the Jawbone. The Jawbone Tavern in Bootle, and
Yeah.
like we had a big mad scrap on stage because we'd sort of, the pressure was on. The drummer kept moving my speaker. I'd go back out to the van. He moved it again. It went on, and I'm not a violent person, by the way. My God, he pressed me that day,
Yeah.
and I ended up smacking him right through the drum kit. This is probably the first and last time I've ever actually physically hit
Yeah.
anyone, you know. And I knocked him right through the drum kit, and we were in an ambulance at the time. That was
Yeah,
my mate had an
the
ambulance,
gigging
so that was
van,
like, yeah. And you know that. So the scrap went on. You know,
Yeah.
I went out to the ambulance. He come out. He was like, said everything's all right. Then he buzzed me. Then the keyboard player saw it. He come flying out the ambulance, tripped on the side of the ambulance. So he just come out like Superman, and then just like a big shiner on his head. And all the people are going, "That's the band," and all that in the crowd. And the funniest thing of all was like the second tour I was doing,
Yeah.
when I rang up and said, "Hi mate, yeah, it's Ashley. Oh yeah, mate, can I have a gig?" And he went, yeah. What band? I said, "We played there before." He went, "What band is it, mate?" I went, "Oh, it's the Pies, yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm joking, aren't you?" And just slams the phone down, you know. But that was probably the there was a lot of stories from that
Yeah.
little era. But the Jawbone was, you know, the extended story's hilarious. Like, but that's the bullet points. Like,
So you got any plans for touring with the the new stuff? Well, the new old stuff and the new stuff.
no. I
No.
mean, the only thing I've got planned now is there's a lady there doing something for vulnerable adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing that a week on Friday for her, mate. That's it for now. You know, and if I do ever do it, and even if this went to number one, people are coming to Liverpool. You
Yeah.
know, we're not touring the world. People have got to come
Yeah.
here, mate. That's the way it is. Like, if you want to see the Pies, it's hard work. And you've got to wait years for it, and you've got to search for it. You're not just
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For nothing, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's clear this Beatles thing up.
Come on then, start that and then we'll play another song.
Mate, I mean, originally Joe Flannery was the manager of the Beatles. I'll give
Yeah.
you the brief history, okay? He was Brian Epstein's boyfriend back in the days. That's the Hamburg days, all the time through the Pete Best sacking. So Joe managed the Pies, you know, great guy. There's views on him in Liverpool, there's contrary views, but at the end of the day, he was great for us, lovely man. And I knew him up until his 80s, so after he'd sort of got tired of working with the Pies, which
Yeah.
is normal
Yeah.
for most people, it'll happen to you. You'll be like, you won't take me calls and all that. And, he sort of, I carried on visiting, and so
Yeah.
it'd be like I'd go to the cake shop.
He's a friend as well, yeah.
Lovely
yeah,
man,
yeah.
and I like an advisor. So if I had a release coming out, if I'd split up with another bird, whatever was going on in my life, he was the god figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the routine was he loved the cakes and all that. And he was old school when he didn't even have cakes when they were a kid. So I'd
Yeah.
go to Sayers, get every cake in the shop, take it to Joe's, and we'd have a giant pot of tea
Yeah.
and sort the world out, right? Whatever was going on. So this went on for years and years and years. Now, he told me loads of Beatles stories, right? Mad stuff that people haven't heard. But it's not going to change the history.
Yeah.
But the one thing that he told me, and he told me loads of times, and it became more important after he died, was the Pete Best sacking, because Pete doesn't really know.
Yeah.
No one really knows. There's all these mad conspiracy things. It was this, it was that, it was that. That's all nonsense, like.
Yeah.
So what happened was Joe was with Brian, and Pete's best mum was plaguing him. Obviously, originally she had the pub with the Casbah Club.
Underneath
It was kind of the
house,
manager
yeah.
in a way
It's
before.
where the Beatles played first of all, wasn't it? Down
So anyway, it got to the point where Brian couldn't even run the office. He couldn't run the office. She was either in the office telling him what to do,
Yeah.
or ringing him up. And it was every day, and it was all day. It was 5 times a day. It was 10 times a day, right? And there was an incident which, put this in perspective here. This was only a little part of mine and Joe's relationship.
Yeah.
It was a confidential
Yeah,
thing. So I have to keep thinking of what the spark, the final incident was.
Yeah.
But that's the general history.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a final explosion of an argument. And Joe Flannery was with Brian. And in the moment, Brian Epstein turns around to Joe and says, I can't take that woman anymore.
Yeah.
There can only be one manager of the Beatles, and Pete's got to go. So the band didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. He was brought in and he was sacked on the spot. And the cover-up was putting him with Joe Flannery's Lee Curtis and the All-Stars.
Yeah.
Right, we've got to make this look weird here now, because obviously we can't say to him, listen, you've been sacked because of your ma. We've got to make it look like I like his ma. So
Yeah.
what we'll do is we'll say, right, we'll spin him off there, and the reason we're doing it this way is because we love his ma that much that we want to keep in touch with him.
Yeah.
So the truth of it is, it was his ma. There was no other reason. The rest was spun, and I think every historian of the Beatles, anyone with a brain, knows it was a weird little incident, and people can smell it that something went on,
Yeah.
but nobody really knows, and that's it. Like, so that's the way it is. There is no other thing. There is nothing else there.
Yeah.
There is only Paul McCartney who could possibly tell this story, and he won't. He'll leave it. And in a way, Joe wrote his word, and he hinted at it, but even Joe was old school.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have said it either. But I'm saying it because we need to correct the record.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the way it is.
Because all the
That was
conjecture was
reason.
really about, like,
And I
Lennon,
tried, by the
Lennon,
way, just
yeah.
one last thing, Isty. I tried to get in touch with Peter first, so I've done my diligence. I
Yeah.
tried to get him, and he probably went, pies, yeah, swerve them, or whatever, right? So I tried,
Yeah.
and now I've got to say this, because there's only me alive that'll
Yeah.
ever say it. Once I'm gone, it's not coming out, mate.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. Correct the record.
Okay.
Don't care, not asked what anyone else says. That's it. And that's not coming from a Joe Flannery that's spinning me a yarn.
Yeah.
That's coming from a mate that's sitting there saying,
Yeah.
oh, it was terrible. The lads didn't even know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
Because the conjecture
Don't
was...
ever say nothing about this, Ash,
Yeah.
But you know what?
But you're on
This
the
is
radio
it.
too.
And do you know whenever, well, he's gone now,
Yeah,
Joe Flannery,
yeah,
God
yeah.
bless him. But you know, whenever even he talked about it, it was like a hush in his voice.
Yeah.
He'd go, oh, do you know what? He still had that
Yeah.
secretive sort of toe the party line. Because how would you go to a band member and go, listen, mate, we love you and that, your sounds and all that, but listen, your ma, sorry, la, you can't,
Because Pete Best was in Hamburg with them as well, wasn't he? He went through all those early
It
days.
was nothing to do with his
Yeah.
musicianship. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
nothing to do with all those other, he's better looking
Yeah,
than this
yeah,
fella.
yeah.
It was Epstein going, I can't take that woman no more.
Yeah.
Get him out the band now. I can't take her. That was it, mate.
I suppose it'd be hard as well, for Pete Best to sort of admit that as well, because
I
obviously...
don't think Pete
yeah.
Best knew it, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
And why would he know it?
Yeah.
How could anyone tell him that? So he's there thinking it was me. Was I good enough? Was it
Yeah.
musicianship? Was it mate? That's what it was, and that's it. It was
Yeah.
cold, calm.
Did the mother know about
Epstein's
it, though?
decision. No, Epstein's decision. Nobody else's. Nothing else. Flannery was his boyfriend. Flannery covered it for him, and Flannery was the only one who really knew.
Yeah.
Maybe the inside band knew. Maybe McCartney knows. Maybe
Yeah.
the inside members knew what the real thing was. But how embarrassing and how hard would that
Yeah.
be for this woman that's managed the band?
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, has got strong personality. You know, how could you explain that
She
whole
didn't manage
thing?
them when they were.
But if you look at
Yeah.
it, knowing those facts, if you accept my facts as true,
Yeah.
and then you look back at the history, all the pieces fit.
Yeah.
It all fits. They mention Mona in about
Yeah.
the 9th reason why it could have been.
Yeah,
But if you start piecing it all together, it all fits.
Yeah.
And that's the history, and that's where the question marks were, because obviously the world's successful band's just about to happen.
Yeah.
And it's the one who's managed the band.
Yeah.
You're going to have to spin something. You're going to have to spin this out here, mate. We can't let her know it's here.
Yeah.
And that was another reason why they sidelined it with the All Stars.
Yeah.
Was to say, they span the opposite thing to say, well, okay, we love her. The reason we've put him with the All Stars is because we want her to stay in touch with us.
so he didn't get sacked from sort of Epstein's management. It was just
Well, Joe Flannery
Joe
was the
Flan-
booking manager,
yeah,
but he
yeah.
ran Lee Curtis and the All Stars.
Yeah.
Joe Flannery's brother. So that was just they were trying to help him, weren't they?
yeah.
But
So-
you know,
Let's go back to the Pies movie.
yeah, okay, that's done
Earthquake
now.
Zone.
That's done. But it had to be
Yeah,
said.
no,
mate.
no, it's interesting.
It
you
had
know.
to be said.
It's
I can rest on that now.
yeah, okay.
I'll say it on the McCartney tonight as well.
Yeah.
But once I've done that, that's the
Yeah.
end of it. And
Well, make
you
sure
know,
you say-
it's probably nothing but grief for me. But
Yeah.
you can't let that die with me.
No.
Why would
no.
I let that die with you know? So sorry,
Don't
mate.
forget to mention you on Liverpool Community Radio as well.
But on Liverpool Community. Oh,
No,
now-
I mean
tonight.
to Linda.
Okay, sorry,
Linda,
mate.
what's her name? Earthquake Zone. Is this a new song?
Mate, they're quite controversial. This no,
Okay.
it's a world song really, and you know it's coming from an Arabic point of view.
Yeah,
You know, to say I want to be an Asian American. You know, it
Yeah.
starts with the Muslim prayer, and it goes into the Lord's prayer, saying, you know, the West really and the Christian religions, they run the world.
yeah,
You know, the Muslims for me are the black people of 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, they're just getting slaughtered and not considered. So this is an Asian who's in a war zone, who's getting his family bladdered everywhere and blown everywhere, and he starts singing the Muslim prayer, and then he turns into the Lord's Prayer and say, what are you doing, mate? And then the lyrics are there, you know, for everyone to hear.
Okay, so
like.
this is an Earthquake
So it's a
Zone.
bit of a passionate one, this one, like a world song.
It's Earthquake Zone by the Pies. We've got the main pie man
Thank
in
you,
the
mate.
studio,
Thank you, Steve.
which is Ashley, and we just had a revelation about Pete Best's
Yeah, we've
sacking
gotta do that,
from the Beatles. No one's ever heard that before.
I mean, and then the funny thing is, let's lead on from that. I mean, the nice comeback to what we're doing here is Joe Flannery, God bless him,
Yeah.
is saying, his catchphrase was like, we were young, he was an older gay man.
Yeah.
He wasn't a perv, but he did like young men around him.
Yeah,
You know, I think that
yeah.
was part of the whole game. But there's not, it wasn't weird, and I can tell you that for certain.
Yeah.
There was nothing weirdly shady going on, but he did enjoy the company of men. And his saying was, or whatever. So
Yeah.
he'd say, for example, years ago into America, or whatever,
Yeah.
which meant we ain't going to America, you know,
Yeah.
or you're going to get signed up next week, or whatever.
Yeah.
That was always the gag, and we always had that gag. So it's a nice comeback to the way we feel about the Pies music, the way it is now, and Joe's little slaying, you know,
Yeah.
or what, and that's why we settled on the Pies or whatever, you know. That was it, like.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the next track, which is
Well, the Batman is
the
a
Batman.
big deal for, like, there'll never be any other favourite song for me
Yeah.
and the guitarist, because it's the Fathers for Justice thing.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
the, you
yeah,
know,
I
it's
remember that, yeah.
the you go to court, and ultimately, if the parties do not agree, and the mum is bitter against the dad, it usually is the mum. It can be the other way round,
Yeah, yeah.
and has been, but generally it's that way round. And if let's take women and men out of it. Let's just say the resident parent. Let's say if the resident parent decides that other person is not seeing them kids under any circumstances, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So this is a song if your dad, by the way, the guitarist has been through it the same as me,
Yeah,
Si,
yeah.
and myself. So the first half of the song is me saying our words of what we would say to them children that we haven't seen growing up. And at the end, I say to him, right, Si, and like for Si Lee, probably in my opinion, one of the best guitarists in the world. The guitar is like an extension of his body.
Yeah.
So he doesn't speak things. He will, I said to him, cry on your guitar, Si.
Yeah.
So when we get to the second half of this track, it's all him, like it's him crying his tears about it, you know. And then, so it'll always be our favourite song. It's not the most favourite song for everyone else. People
Yeah.
love This Is Your Time or whatever.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
But me and Si, this will be our Desert Island song.
Yeah.
Our Kenny Island disc would always be this one for reasons that are so deep that you couldn't explain. But if there's a dad listening, it's going to kick him right in the
Yeah.
plums. So be ready for it, like.
Gonna keep on searching, baby, for you, and you got the Batman on our side. I know the government's rule this world. Sometimes you have to run and hide. You and me, we could ride this way much better than us on our ride. Don't you know that I love you, but I can't if I try. You know I'm gonna keep on searching for the best days of my time. No, I'm never gonna find nothing like you. Why, Daddy, knocking the door down, babe? Emotion sent to overload. The judge let me up at the junction, boys. It's better off we get off home. Or am I looking backward now? Well, this can be my only crime. 'Cause I still long to be near you, but I can't if I try. You know I'm gonna keep on searching for the best days of my time. No, I'm never gonna find nothing like you. Know the world, it keeps on turning, moving past stars, racing time. No, I'm never gonna see the things you do. These things clear, think clearly. Fill our belly with energy.
What did the judge say, Daddy?
that was the Pies with Batman. There's a new version of it, yeah? Did you say no?
Well, it's the original concept. It's just, again, it's just stripped back to what it always was: 2 guitars, bass, and drums.
Yeah.
You know, Cy Lee, an amazing performance. Like, you put that on the headphones, you drift into another world every time.
Yeah.
He really does do something there that I can't put my finger on. Neither of us can. But the minute he done it, we all just went, "Oh my God, you can't change that." You know, where did the
flipping
mate.
that come from?
Where did that come from? You know, we were all just flabbergasted on the desk.
Yeah.
Where did he... Because all I said to him was, right, Si, try on your guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I love with working with Si is he's always first take.
So what's he been doing in the meantime?
You know what? Si is a pie, and he's a rebel, mate. He won't play covers. He wouldn't do nothing. He's his own man. He's like me. We're radical people in a way. We've never sort of changed the world as such, but our music is more important to us. You know, you'd never get us doing cover songs or anything like that. We've always put it beyond money as well, which is a lovely thing for us to be able to say. You know, that no matter what, somebody, like we're doing this community thing a week on Friday for the adults or whatever. If someone said, "Yeah, mate, here's 10 grand, come here," they're dreaming, mate.
Yeah.
No, the Pies ain't about money. Never will be. I want to die skinned.
Yeah.
I want to die falling off a motorway bridge, get splattered by a train or a wagon. I'm
With
not
a
arsed.
mop in your hand.
I'm not asked which one. Well, it'd be a roller pole with sellotaped on.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a near miss last time. I'd written Smoke Pies on the M6. I had a near miss. The end of me roller come off. I was doing it on my own. No one had fancied keeping it out for trains. I'd asked everyone. When you're talking to people, they go, "Oh yeah, that sounds exciting." But then when you ring them and go, "Right, I'll pick you up about 12, wear black," they go, "Hang on a minute. I'm not sure." So I ended up doing it on my own. The end fell off my roller. I was absolutely parrot. I was on the bridge. I'd written Smoke P.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" I'm dead cool when I'm up there. I bring a little stove. Have a couple of joints, have a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? I'm having a nice little smoke there, a good old time. And I'm dead chilled once I get there.
Yeah,
It's hell getting there, but I get my own sack of tears. I'm a pro, like.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sitting there with my full thing. I've got a roller pulled off. 40 minutes later, I'm sweating now. The M6 is starting to pick up again.
Yeah.
It's 3:30 in the morning, right? The traffic's picking up. I've got Smoke P written on the road, and I'm going to look an absolute knobhead, right? So look at him. What's that? So I thought it's got to be done somehow, right? So I devised this. Now, bear in mind, the paint top of the roller is hanging on the ledge of the bridge, dripping paint. Gloss paint onto the motorway. So it took one police car to go under that, get that all over the windscreen.
Yeah.
And it's like emergency yellow one alert, you know, someone on the bridge and all that. So I was panicking. So I devised this fishing rod thing, right, with a noose on it. And it took me half an hour, but eventually I got it. And as I'm hauling, it was like a fishing rod. As I'm hauling it over, I nearly got hit by a train the other way then. This goods train flying down the road. Anyway, I got it done. And all the way through it, I'm panicking going, I'll just get this painted and I'm getting off. But then when I sat there again, I had another joint and another brew and I thought, I've done it. I thought, well, I'm here. The paint's here. I might have to do the other side as well. So I've done the other side then, the Pies. I don't know how we got onto that, mate, but sorry, it was just another little... There's a million, crazy, mad Pie stories, but how did we get onto that? I don't know.
Well, it's all about Si, really, and what was happening. I don't know how we got onto the Pie.
I don't know how we got onto that either, but yeah, Si's a genius, mate. I'm blessed to have him in my life. You know, honestly, I want to get him to the world. He could have graced the Zappa band.
Yeah.
He's that good, like, I genuinely believe it. And I'd love to get him to the world, and I'd love for the world to hear him play, like. Yeah.
Well, we're rapidly running out of time.
Are we? Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're going to have to...
There's loads more stories as well.
Well, you've got Kenny Island Discs coming up. You can come up with some of them there, can't you?
I don't know whether I'm coming now. I think I've had enough of you.
Okay, all right.
I mean, your sound and all that.
We'll get some fresh apples for you. And fresh bad apples.
As long as you get loads of tea bags, mate, you've got me.
Okay, this is
So this is prisoner. So this is for people who are a prisoner in a job, a prisoner in life. This is for the world, you know, and you know, this is for all kinds of people that feel as if they're a prisoner in their job or their life or their marriage, even.
We're painting bridges for the nation. If they're backing up a junction line, they're dreaming of a better equation. By the time we're dreaming about it all our lives, well, time keeps running after me.
That's the pies with Prisoner,
Yeah, Prisoner.
Poppy, Power Pop.
Well, do you know what? Prisoner is something that we never spend any time on. It's on the end of the track. We haven't done anything on it.
Yeah.
It's just thrown on the end. It's easy to play. And everyone goes, oh, I love that one. You know, as much as we spent about 3 million years on This Is Your Time and 2 million years on Earthquake Zone and a few 100,000 years on Batman, and then we spent about 30 seconds lobbing Prisoner on the end because everyone loves it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the Pies set. We can't follow Prisoner. It genuinely is a public demand one. That it's not because I love it or anyone in the band loves it. It's the one that we have to play because it's a lot of people's favourite. Like,
Callum, what do you think?
Maybe there's a lot of
I
Prisoners.
think it's brilliant, actually brilliant. Really
thank
are.
you,
I think it's good.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. What do you
Thanks,
think,
Karen.
Krista?
Yeah, I think it's amazing, and I love all the topics that you've chosen because everyone can relate to them. It's actually quite emotional. I felt
thank
quite
you.
emotional.
Yeah, if you put it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Krista.
True.
And being from Liverpool, we're proud of you.
Well,
Absolutely.
we are Liverpool through and through. Like, there's
Yeah.
no getting away from that. And as I said, we'd never go out of it. You know.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, it's always been a thorny place for us as well.
Yeah.
The actual establishment of Liverpool, the established music business, hates the damn sight of us and doesn't like us at all and has never accepted us, not on festivals, not on any of those, sort of acceptable things where they could give us a push.
Could I just say, if you're from Manchester or somewhere else or London, you'd get a better chance.
Well, people have written things about us. Liverpool's a hard place. The Beatles made it hard for everyone after them. You've got to be something, and to get through. There is a hierarchy in Liverpool that, in the music business, the accepted music business.
Yeah.
And we've just never been part of that. But I think if you go to the grassroots of people, we're in there, we're in the history, we're in there, like, in the minds. And, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's better that I die skinned.
Oh,
That's
Well,
what I was
most
gonna
artists
say.
do, don't
That's what I was
they?
going to say to you. That's why we got onto that mad subject before about falling off the bridge.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
you
if I
nearly
live
done-
my
yeah.
life skinned, I'd like to do that,
Yeah.
and then die in an unusual accident.
Yeah.
Ideally, painting the pies and kind of doing. Hopefully, I'll finish it, then
Yeah.
fall off the bridge,
Yeah.
When you're old.
and then we have the hits. Then.
Yeah.
And the music goes crazy, and we all go, God, why didn't we recognise him
Yeah.
while he was alive? But I think that's quite fitting for me. I'm
the
happy-
paint on the
I'm
last
happy with
desk
that.
going down like that, where you
That's the
fell
one,
off the bridge. Yeah.
And maybe a piece of me, a bit of hair still stuck
Yeah.
to it, or in the gloss. Like, well, I mean, let's quickly and
Go on,
briefly,
go on.
just quickly address the end of the M57. And obviously, it's been painted over Plandemic.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, it was painted over and Plandemic was on it. So the World and the Echo were goading me, weren't they? We want pies back. It's been pies for 30 years.
Yeah.
We're not happy. And there was a big debate. The Echo did a poll, and most of Liverpool want the pies back.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, okay? I'm not going to comment on the Plandemic thing.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything about it, right? But what I'm saying is, those people who believe in that have risked their lives.
Yeah.
The M57 is the hardest bridge to paint in the country.
Right.
It's dramatically high on the railway side. So you're up shoulder height,
Yeah.
then you're leaning right over, then you're hanging right down. It's a dangerous one. It's the most dangerous one. So those guys who believe that strongly enough to write that on the bridge. Now, okay, they've gone over an unwritten graffiti law,
Yeah.
which is going over someone
Someone
else's
else's,
work,
yeah.
right? So I'm not going to go back and do that to them, right? And the Network Rail painted it, and they've painted it again, a yellow one now. So for me, they've risked their life to do it. They obviously believe strongly in it. So for me now, they own that bridge now. That's not my bridge.
Yeah.
That's, if they prepare to risk their lives, they're prepared to paint what they believe in, that's great, because that now has become a public notice board
Yeah.
for people who don't have a radio station or a TV.
So just do Pie-demic.
I
That'd
can
be good.
quite rest on that now.
Yeah.
I won't be
Okay.
going back to that. Unless, say, they give up the ghost and Network Rail paint it clean again,
Yeah.
and it stays clean for a while, I might just do it for a laugh.
Okay.
And we always did that for a laugh anyway.
Yeah.
We'd always have like a bigger project like the M6 or the Tunnel Tower or whatever, and we go, oh yeah, we'll just do the M57 on the way home, you know.
As you do.
But it's good luck to them. I can't. I'm not going to get into the whole debate of that. That'll be maybe for another day. But they've risked their lives.
I can just say, watch this space. That's all I can say. In that. And don't do this at home, kids.
Okay.
You were over 18 when you done it, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's okay. I don't want any 12-year-olds thinking, oh yeah, you know.
No, I've lived a dangerous life. I've had a crazy life, and I wouldn't recommend anyone to live my life, you know. But I've had some major disasters. I've lost a son. I've had a disabled grandson.
Yeah.
I've had a suicide. I've had suicides in the band. You know, I don't care. You know, if I die today, then that's my lot. Like, but I mean, all I could say to people is, you've got to be in your comfort zone, but live your life to the full, you know. But I think you need to have some disasters to realise happiness as well, don't you?
Yeah.
But I've had my fair share, like.
We'll leave that as your last words, but not your last words, if you get what I mean.
Well,
last words on the programme.
I could get it by a steamroller when I
You could
walk
be,
out
yeah,
of here. Well,
yeah.
I'm hoping I do.
What's that step when you're getting out as well? 'Cause we had a few people trip on it.
Haven't you?
Yeah.
I'll end up button mad, wouldn't I, on the desk?
You'll be all right there. Right, so it's goodbye from me today.
Thank you.
Goodbye from
Thanks, everybody.
Ashley.
Lovely to
Very
do it.
entertaining today.
Mate, I
Yeah.
love,
Can't
I
wait
love
for the
coming
Kenny
here.
Island
It's
disc.
my favourite place in the world.
Yeah,
Thank you,
okay.
mate.
But he says that's the Radio Mail side tonight. No,
Nah,
he
I
won't.
won't.
No.
Bye.
Bye from Krista and bye from
Bye.
Karen from Seas on